Hi there, my name is Patrick Oluwadamilare Claudius, and in this presentation, I'll be narrating my final project on ACC3250. The focus of my narration will be on Stanbic IBTC Bank, looking at their audit, account statement, and the processes that is involved in the auditing. Uh, so before we dive deeper, I'd like to provide a brief background of the bank. Stanbic IBTC Bank was founded in February 2nd, 1989, and the bank currently has its headquarters located inside of High Basis Place, Carrington Kings Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos, with over 100 branches sited across different states in Nigeria, though majorly uh, within Lagos State. However, the bank ensured to maintain at least one branch in each of the other 36 states in the country, either through a full-scale bank or a micro mini bank. And the services that the bank currently offers to its numerous customers across the country includes retail banking, account management, which range from savings account, current account, and corporate account. Um, the bank also offers asset financing, um, which includes property acquisition, car purchasing, and also the bank support things like school fees payment. And Stanbic IBTC Bank remain one of the leading pension manager in the country, start since serving customers in both private and the public sector. Now, looking at the audit audience of Stanbic IBTC Bank, the first one on this list is Central Bank of Nigeria. A Central Bank of Nigeria being the apex bank that provides regulatory requirements and also ensures that every commercial bank within the country is registered with the bank, right? So what central bank does is to regularly monitor audited financial statement of the bank to ensure that it is complying with every regulatory guidelines that CBN provide. This supervision also includes providing oversight functionalities over all of the banks, which then entails Stanbic IBTC Bank. This supervision includes monitoring the process, how much is being issued out to customers in terms of foreign exchange, because CBN ensured CBN provide monetary policies, regulations to all the banks, which sort of keep eye or keep track of how much is going out of the country, if the bank is complying to anti-money laundering policies, exchange rate policies, loan repayment, if the bank is able to keep minimum of 25 billion that is required with the CBN, and to ensure that loans are recovered at a reasonable time. Because essentially, if these policies are not being followed, what would then happen is that CBN would have to take over the bank and assign an independent management to oversee what is going on. So CBN is one of the leading consumer of Stanbic IBTC Bank audited financial statement. Another consumer include the creditor. They want to ensure that the bank is able to fulfill its debt obligation moving forward. Another consumer is the investors. They want to ensure that they can continue to get maximum return on their investment. Then we also have government. Government essentially keep track of what is the financial statement to be able to ascertain that the bank is remitting proper tax and the VAT is being collected as at when due. Then we also have the management. Management essentially keep track of or use audit reports to be able to look at where they have lapses in their processes, where there's need for improvement, so that they can continue to evaluate their process and then improve where necessary. Now, so we are looking at the type of audit that is conducted. So number one type of audit is financial audit. Now this entails auditing of financial statements, looking at balance sheet, income statements, and every other record in that regard. So the bank keep track of the type of audit that is usually conducted by external auditor includes looking at the financial statement of the bank to see if it is in line with international best practices and all other accounting and audit standard. Then we also have operational audit, which essentially look at how things are done within the bank. This is more like it's quite similar to internal audits in practice, which is to sort of have external opinion on how the bank operation is being carried out, so as to determine where there are lapses. This sort of look at approval processes, to determine where there could be where fraud could take place, and then to provide guidance, or to provide some sort of mitigation in that instance. Then the audit type of audit also include compliance, to sort of evaluate how the bank is carrying out its process. For instance, the CBN on a monthly basis sometimes usually have a memo that that is issued out to provide the amount of forex exchange, or USD or pound sterling, that can be spent on the Naira MasterCard, right? Apart from having a domiciliary account MasterCard. So the CBN issued out a memo, and everyone must comply with this memo. So one of the things that the audit process does is to check if the bank is complying with the CBN regulation in this regard. There are several other regulations. This also includes anti-money laundering. There's a minimum amount of money that can be transferred or received into an account. So the bank the audit process checks to see if all of these are being adhered to. Because if they are not adhered to and this get to CBN, the bank will be shut, the license could be withdrawn, or this could result to heavy fine on the institute, on the organization. Then other thing that the bank also, the audit process get involved with is the information system. So essentially the audit process look at the information system to see if there are possible lapses, so that the bank is protected against data hack. The bank also, the process checks to see if customers' data is being safeguarded, if data is being exchanged in a format that is in compliance with established data regulation policies within and outside the country. The audit information audit process look at the kind of software that is being used, to look at how effective they are in helping the bank to deliver its services in that instance. Audited processes. Now, some of the process that goes into auditing include transactions recognition and analysis. So basically, at this phase, the auditor thoroughly analyze every transactions to understand the account that is involved in each of these transactions, documents such as invoice, purchasing orders, checks. All of these are duly considered to ensure that they are what they should be. And there are several other things that is usually audited in that instance. So we also look at regulatory environment for compliance that the bank operates in. So one of the top regulatory environments, which includes the CBN, as I have mentioned earlier. So I've mentioned CBN, which was touched base on CAC. CAC is actually the Corporate Affairs Commission, which is the first point of contact when an organization is to be registered within the country. So the CAC is being guided by a policy, by an act called CAMA, and this, which is Company and an Allied Matter Act. This ensures that it talks about the income tax, capital gain tax, annual returns, VAT. It talks about the amount that is expected to be paid to staff, number of directors that is supposed to have, and several other things. The company name, filing, accounting statements, and several other regulations that is provided within that framework. So this is expected to be done first before the bank then get to the next stage of the CBN. So the CBN in this instance look at then set hard policies, which begins with having a minimum of $25 billion. 25 billion naira before the bank can be granted license to operate as a commercial bank. So all of these are regulatory environment that every commercial bank, which includes Stanbic IBTC Bank, must strictly adhere to, and this includes, having, working within the framework that has been provided in terms of foreign exchange, working within the framework of monetary policies, open market operation, certain standard for interest rate that is expected to go out in that instance. I spoke about the income tax. The CAC set a standard that income tax that is expected is 30% of the organization's annual profit. So this is expected to be remitted to the government and usually paid to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Now we look at the planning, preparation, execution, and the audit phase, which is the final stage follow-up. So in the aspect of planning, so the audit team, this begins with the audit team, selection of the team that will be carrying out the audit process, and then you then have the stage where the team engage with the client, look at their record, assess the risk that may be involved inside of the organization, evaluation of the tools that will be needed, and the time that will be allocated for the entire audit process before it is completed. They also ensure to record everything that needs to be delivered in that instance, hold audit conference with the client so that they can iron out certain gray area. Then jumping on the preparation stage, we look at information gathering regarding the audit process, record and assess processes, internal measures that the organization has in place, and all of that. Look at the engagement with the organization staff members to get more information in that instance. Then we look at the execution phase. The execution phase record. So basically, the preparation stage creates assessment parameters and conduct thorough analysis before diving into the audit process. The next one is the execution phase, and this basically start putting those things into actions, record areas of efficiencies and areas where there's need for improvement, evaluate client working papers to look to verify every supporting documents regarding each of the transactions that are taking place during the period in view, field work and transaction testing, engaging with management on their action plans to address those areas where where adjustment has been recommended, and then at the end, final audit report is prepared, and then assessed performance of the audit process, so include monitor management with regards to plans to improve. And then the final stage is the follow-up, which is to sort of continue to monitor management with regards to areas that has been suggested for improvement, to see the actions that management has put in place, and to begin to look at the results that those actions are generating, if they are as effective as expected, and if they are helping to resolve those areas. So basically, the audit follow-up process seeks to confirm if the action stated in the report has been effective and yielding the kind of result that is expected. All right, so essentially these are my view with regards to Stanbic IBTC Bank, looking at their regulatory environment, the processes that the audit process that I feel is quite important to the banking operation, looking at from the perspective of the audience of the institutions, the organization rather. And these are the references I have used to gather this presentation. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to me. Thank you so much.